Abdul Hakim Shimul, a reporter for the Bangladeshi national daily Samkal newspaper, died on 3 February 2017 from gunshot wounds sustained while covering political unrest in the northern Bangladeshi city of Shahjatpur the previous day. He was 42. Header, a blogger also known as Thaba Baba, was killed by assailants wielding machetes outside his home in the Pallavi neighborhood in the capital, Dhaka. Header's brother said he had been targeted by the Islami Chhatra Shibir, the student wing of the Jamaati Islami Party, for his online activities. Reports said activists of the Shahbag movement also blamed members of the Islami Chhatra Shibir for the blogger's death. On 19 February 2021, Borhan Uddin Muskir, a Bangladeshi reporter for the news website Barta Bazar and the newspaper Bangladesh Samachar, was shot in the throat while covering clashes in the street between two factions of the ruling Awami League party in the Kampaniganj area of southern Noakhali district, according to news report. Ali, a stringer for the daily newspaper Jugantar, was reported missing on 20th July and found dead on 22nd July in an irrigation canal in Roopganj village, where he lived. Assailants had bound the journalist's hands and legs, burned his face and chest with nitric acid, and stabbed him to death, according to police. On 26 February 2015, two unidentified men approached Avijit Roy and his wife, Rafida Ahmed Bona, as they were leaving a book fair in the Dhaka University campus area, according to Bona and witnesses, they reported. The assailants stabbed and hacked at them with sharp weapons and fled the scene, news reports said. Roy and Bona were taken to a local hospital, where Roy was pronounced dead, according to news reports. Four assailants wielding cleavers and machetes hacked Ananta Bijoy Das to death on a busy street as the blogger was heading to work in the city of Sylhet, according to news report. Kamrul Hassan, Commissioner of Sylhet Police, told local journalists that the four assailants fled the scene. Alauddin, editor of the weekly Ogrodut and a former member of parliament for the governing Awami League in Satkhira, was fatally shot while in his office. Police attributed the murder to a political feud but did not provide details. The bodies of Sarovar and his wife, Mehrun Rooney, were found by their 5-year-old son in their home. News reports said both journalists had been hit repeatedly with sharp weapons. According to Sarovar's hands were tied behind his back, and no valuables were missing. Sarovar, a news editor at the Dhaka-based Masranga television, had recently returned to Bangladesh from Germany, where he had worked for the German public news outlet. Das, a reporter for the Dhaka-based daily Samkal, was found strangled in his bureau office in the town of Faridpur, 40 miles west of the Bangladeshi capital, according to the local advocacy group Media Watch. At 2 p.m., police broke down the door of the office to find Das' body inside, with fractures to the legs and hand and nylon rope around his neck, according to a statement by the group. Assailants wielding knives and axes brutally murdered Chakrabarti, the executive editor of the Bangla-language daily Durjoy Bangla late the night of 2nd October. Chakrabarti, a veteran journalist who also helped lead several press groups, was on his way home in Sherpur, a town in the Bogra district of the northeastern Rajshahi division, when as many as 5 assailants ambushed and decapitated him, local journalists told CPJ. On 31 October 2015, a group of men stabbed Faisal Irfan Deepan, a publisher, to death at the offices in the capital, Dhaka, and then fled the scene. According to reports showed the publisher's body had multiple stab wounds. The publishing house, in the Shahbag area of the capital, released short stories, poetry, novels, and essays on progressive topics. Deepan's company had published Biswashar Virus in 2014 by Avijit Roy, a blogger who received death threats after the book was published, according. Rashid, a reporter for the Bengali-language newspaper Dainik Purbanchal, was ambushed by gunmen while he was riding his motorcycle to work in the southwestern city of Khulna, according to Bangladeshi and international news reports. Dainik Purbanchal, which is published in Khulna, is a well-regarded regional daily. Ali, a correspondent for the Khulna-based Bengali-language daily Anirban, died shortly before midnight on 21st April while undergoing treatment at Khulna Medical College Hospital for injuries sustained in an attack days earlier. Late on the night of 17th April, masked men kidnapped Ali from his home in the village of Shovna, according to local press reports. The assailants stabbed him, beat him severely, and broke his hands and legs before abandoning him on the outskirts of his village. Saha, a veteran journalist and press freedom activist, was targeted and killed in a bomb attack in the southwestern city of Khulna. On 13 April 2022, alleged narcotics dealers shot and killed Mohiuddin Sarkar Naeem, a reporter for the privately owned local newspaper Dainik Cumular Dak, in Kamila district, about 60 miles southeast of the Bangladesh capital Dhaka, according to news reports. The bodies of Rooney and her husband, Gholam Mustafa Sarovar, were found by their 5-year-old son in their home. News reports said both journalists had been hit repeatedly with sharp weapons, according to news reports. Sarovar's hands were tied behind his back, and no valuables were missing. Rooney was a senior reporter at the Dhaka-based ATN Bangla television. Utsho, a reporter at the privately owned Bangla-language daily Jaga Alo, was tied to a tree and hacked to death along the Dhaka-Ranpur highway in a remote area of Dharmadas in Rangpur city. The reporter was last seen in the area by residents at about 1:30 a.m. on 24 December, the English-language Daily Star reported. His body was found around 8 a.m. Colleagues told the press that in the lead-up to his murder Utsho, who usually finished work around 1 a.m., an unidentified group of men armed with sharp weapons, including machetes, attacked Uddin at a tea stall in Kashipur village in the district of Jaisur on the border with India, according to news reports. The assailants slashed his arms, legs, and eyes, leaving him with multiple severe injuries, news reports said. Uddin died at a local hospital later that night, the report said. On 24 June 2004, an unidentified assailant threw bombs at Humayun Kabir, editor of the Bangla-language daily Janmabhoomi, while he was outside his home in the southwestern Bangladeshi city of Khulna with his family, killing him. Witnesses told the English-language Daily Star that the assailant, posing as a peanut seller, approached Kabir and tossed at least 2 homemade bombs at him, critically injuring him in the abdomen and the legs. Kabir was taken to Khulna Medical College Hospital and died. Hussain, a crime reporter for the Khulna-based newspaper Anirban, was kidnapped from his home in Ula, a village near the town of Dumuria, Khulna district, at around midnight by a group of about 35 armed men. Police suspect that the assailants belonged to the outlawed Biplobi Communist Party, one of several guerrilla groups active in the lawless southwest of the country. Kamruzaman, a reporter for the weekly newspaper Neel Sagar, was fatally shot by security officers while covering their crackdown on a violent protest against election results in the northern town of Nilphamari. Hussain, the local correspondent for the Bangla-language daily Ajker Kagos, was abducted and brutally murdered by unknown assailants in the early morning in Maniktari, eastern Chittagong district, according to local news reports. The newswire service The United News of Bangladesh, UNB, reported that police discovered Hussain's decapitated body nearby hours later. Ilyas Hussain, 45, a correspondent for the local Bangla daily newspaper, Dainik Bijoy, was repeatedly stabbed while returning home from work on the evening of 11 October 2020 in Narayanaganj, a suburb of Dhaka, according to reports and a photo of the body, which CPJ has seen. He was found in the street and taken to a hospital, where he was declared dead. Nipal's dismembered body was found at a railway station in the southwestern district of Chuadanga, which borders India, according to news. His family told journalists he had left his house the night before after receiving a phone call and did not return home. Nipal's family, including his wife, mother, and brother, said they believed this was a premeditated murder. Hussain, 43, editor of the newspaper Dainik Bir Darpan, was assassinated in the southwestern town of Jhaneda. According to the English-language daily The Independent, published from Dhaka, three unidentified assailants riding a motorcycle fired from close range at Hussain and a friend as they were talking outside a shop. Hussain was killed instantly. His friend, Alfaj Uddin, died en route to the hospital. Assailants entered Faruqi's home in the East Rajbazar area of the capital, Dhaka, tied him up along with some guests and members of his family, and slit his throat. Faruqi was the host of two television programs for the privately owned news and education channel iTelevision, Kafela, which explored sacred Islamic sites around the world, and Shantil Pothe, on which he discussed Islam. Belaluddin, a correspondent with the conservative Bengali daily Sangram, died of injuries sustained in a bomb attack 6 days earlier. The device exploded at around 9:15 p.m. outside the press club in the southwestern city of Khulna. The bomb, hidden in a bag hanging from a motorcycle, detonated as Belaluddin approached the vehicle. Bangladeshi journalist Hasibur Rahman Rubel went missing in the southwest Khulna division's Kushtia district on 3 July 2022 and was found dead on 7 July. On 3 July, Rubel received a phone call and left the office of Kushtia Khabar, the privately owned newspaper where he worked as acting editor, according to Multiply News and a local journalist familiar with the case, who spoke to CPJ on the condition of anonymity due to fear of reprisal. At least 4 assailants entered the blogger's home and hacked him to death with sharp weapons in the Goran neighborhood in the capital, Dhaka, according to new report. Mukul, editor of the Daily Runner, a Bengali-language newspaper, was returning to his home in Jaisur when he was killed by what police say may have been a small, homemade bomb. He was pronounced dead on arrival at Jaisur General Hospital. The Daily Runner was known for its exposés of gang activity, political corruption, and human rights abuses and had published stories criticizing guerrilla activity around Jaisur. 3 assailants attacked Rahman with a sharp weapon as he left his home to go to work in the morning, the Associated Press reported. The blogger, who was also identified in reports as Oyasikar Rahman, was pronounced dead upon arrival at a local hospital from injuries he sustained to his head, face, and neck, news reports said. Police were able to identify Rahman using a voter identity card they found in his possession, the report said. Police found the mutilated body of Ahmed, 50, on 3 August, more than 2 months after he had disappeared, according to the press freedom groups Reporters Sans Frontiers and the Bangladesh Center for Development Journalism and Communication, BCDJC. Ahmed was editor of the local Bengali-language publication Pubali Barta, published in the southeastern town of Srimangal. Police had no leads in the case, according to the BCDJC. Rahman, a special correspondent for the Bengali-language national daily Janakanta and a frequent contributor to the BBC's Bengali-language service, was killed at around 8:20 p.m. when 2 armed men entered his office and fired at his head and chest from point-blank range. The 43-year-old journalist was working alone in his office on Jail Road in central Jaisur when the assailants arrived. The gunmen reportedly fled the scene immediately. Shah Alam Sagar, also identified as Shahalam Sarkar, was found dead behind the Uttara Pashchim police station in the capital, Dhaka. Police said Alam believed he was about to be arrested and that he fell off the roof from where he was attempting to escape by climbing down a drain pipe.